People are like, they're just trying to be loyal so they can prove that I've phoned people wrong. It's not like a good enough motivation. It's not because they believe in the products, because they don't want to believe in the other products.
All the iPhone has done is done everything backwards and charged you 4 times the amount.
And yet, what is the go-to?
Everything goes to Mac and Apple, guys. We have to admit.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
At the end of the day, it's a long-standing fact, so you can't argue with that. Okay, we can start now, man. Matt, how are you, bro?
Good. It's always great to be able to chat with you guys.
Yeah.
How's things your side?
Oh, dude. Last week at the market. I still have to brag about being champions because, it's I can't stop.
I'm not saying anything and I'm not making unfounded allegations about competitions being rigged, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Look at that. You see, remember my meme? That Chinese guy?
Unfounded allegations.
Unfounded allegations.
There's lots of those floating around.
There's a lot of those these days. Eh? Have you seen yours?
Yes.
You're the scariest Mlungu in Howick.
Exactly. I'd love to meet this Bas Kruger somewhere along the line. Maybe you can organize us an introduction.
I've actually sent them an invite, but they still haven't responded. Because after I had the interview with the mayor, I was like, you know what? It's only fair as a journalist that I get both sides.
Yeah, I mean, that's what journalists do.
I would also love to hear their side of the story. So,
Everybody would.
if you get that opportunity, please just loop us in.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. If they actually agree, because let's just be honest, fake profiles don't really.
There's no credibility there.
Yeah, there's no credibility there. And as much as he can, have these facts that he says he has, that if you can't really back them up by facing me and telling me something like that, I can't. Me personally, I don't really take you seriously. Which is why I've come to you. I've come to the mayor. You guys were part of those allegations, but I want to start off with something a bit more positive, dude, because I know you've been doing a lot of things.
We love positive.
Yeah. So before we get to the nitty-gritty stuff, let's get to the positive stuff first. And you can just tell me a bit more about Matt, man. Just Matt, and then you can share your vision and your mission with Love Howick with me. But first, we need to know who Matt is. Because even at the Midlands market, you asked that question. You were like, Matt, and then you went to Love Howick. This guy loves Love Howick.
My blood oozes Love Howick.
Yeah.
But Matt is an ordinary citizen of our beautiful country. And I say ordinary because I don't think that's in any way that what we've done or who I am is anything other than just pulling people together behind something more powerful, which is our togetherness. And so I do love being united. I love people and love seeing tangible change. I'm an action person. My team will attest to that. I don't like lots of talking unless we have an action plan and then by the end of the week we can execute.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually work. As you can see the board there, it's got a lot of action plans there. But I am married to an incredible woman who is the force behind our family and behind me.
Yeah.
She is powerful. Women are powerful.
Very,
and is big capacity. She can do a whole lot in one day.
If you have a powerful one by your side, you're a winner, bro.
Exactly. So I'm winning in many regards. We've got 4 beautiful kids that are our pride and joy. And then I think,
how's that like being a dad, man? A lot of people find it hard. Me personally,
as I said, when you've got a good wife, it becomes a lot easier. And so moms are the heroes of households. My job is really just to obviously be present, make sure that I'm there for my kids, and obviously are building some good foundations, good values in them.
I think that's one of
But
your biggest.
the nitty gritty part of life, I must say, she does a lot of that. So we just give a shout out to all moms.
Shout out to the moms out
They are the heroes behind the stories of families and communities. So we just want to say, go moms.
Shout out to
and
the
go
moms.
wives, and go single moms.
Everybody who is raising kids.
100%.
Yeah.
And I actually take my hat off to my mom. She was a single mom of 4 kids.
Wow.
So I've got 3 siblings,
yeah.
and grew up. I actually was born in Pietermaritzburg, so this is where the origin of Matt Hogarty is.
Yeah.
But then I moved to Johannesburg, I moved to Botswana, then I moved to Cape Town, then I moved to Australia, and I found myself back here for my university years at University of Natal. And I studied a BCom, a Bachelor of Commerce, a major in economics, which I love, and management as well. And then went on to study teaching after that because I realized that I did not want to be stuck in the mechanics of economics, but rather teach and inspire and grow and develop people. And so, marrying the business world with the teaching world, with my role in church, the ministry world, and the non-profit sector, I feel like there's a lot of puzzle pieces that have come together in what we do. So I'm passionate about education, passionate about empowering people, passionate about God, passionate about just what we do day to day matters. And so it really is good to be able to outwork all of that in an organization like Love Howick. Because I find no day is the same. I can be landscaping gardens because our town needs to look more beautiful in one morning, and then I can move to a board meeting and then move to teaching an entrepreneurship class, having a strategic planning session with our team, and sorting out cleaning our office, which my staff also needs to.
Yeah, guys, today.
I always say cleanliness is next to godliness.
I'm
trying to inspire a generation to be godly and clean at the same time. Clean environments.
Yeah, I was also told that you've got to make your bed up in the morning before you leave, because if you come back home and you have a made up bed,
100%.
Even if anything went wrong and you come back home to a bed that's
day started right.
They started all good.
So I like Hurricane Matt, like he literally comes tearing in here, and he's not spinning or anything, but you can almost see the air moving around, and he starts on our desks and he tidies them.
We strive for order.
So he's the hurricane that puts things together instead of the hurricane that just blows everything apart.
And you know what?
The Inkanyamba that puts things together.
To Matt's credit, when he says that he might be beautifying a garden, he literally means it. Like, he's often out there doing more than the rest of the management team. He's picking up litter, he's digging holes, he's
100%.
pulling branches off trees, that sort of thing. Like, he's really, really involved, really hands-on.
Okay, that's good, man. Give me your fondest memory of growing up in the Midlands.
So I only moved here when I was 18. Obviously I used to come back here. My grandparents were from here. And so I think all people have a connection through their grandparents to the Midlands, the roots. And so I can remember holidays spent here, especially Christmas holidays, where we would take tubes and we would go down the river, the Mlungu River. So we'd go tubing down the river and just hope that you don't get caught. You come out before you go over that big weir, and then from then on it's the fall. So you want to make sure you're out beforehand. So lots of fun memories like that. I think life at that stage was carefree. I remember Howick being very safe. We used to ride bikes around, used to go to the local community swimming pool by ourselves as children. Nowadays I would never let my kids go there by themselves.
Exactly.
But just lots of fun memories. Even going to the library and taking out books to read in the holidays. So those fun, Howick was smaller back then.
It was very small. It was like the farm.
It was like a village. Like a village feel. And so there's a lot of outdoors, everybody knew each other, a great safe.
Small town. Intimate town, basically,
small town, but also, I remember there was only Wimpy, so if you wanted to go out, for something to eat, there was Wimpy that I think became Bison Grill, and then, moved on, and then obviously things started to grow from there. But I do love growth, I do love development, I love where the community is going right now. I do think we need more investments to come into the area, and so some people look at that as a negative. I see it from my economic background as a positive, because obviously economic growth we need people from the outside to invest in and start to create more income generation here.
Which is why you focus on cleaning up the town as well.
Exactly.
One of the most important things. I mean.
Well, exactly. If you have pride in your space, and if you look at your space with a sense of, oh, wow, I'm excited about this, you're going to speak about that to others. And then investors, particularly when they're looking for spaces to invest in, they're going to look at infrastructure, they're going to look at beauty, they're going to look at what are people saying. Is it a place where people have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Are people excited about the opportunities, or are they wanting to kind of hold into, fearful, or hold on to history instead of looking at their future? And so I think we are developing. I think there's a lot of improvements and feedback that is currently happening so that we can even improve even more. But I think everybody needs to get on that track, because beyond the growth comes the opportunities, and that's what we are all about at Love Howick. It's creating those opportunities and helping the business sector, the government sector, NGOs, churches all come together to create those opportunities for day-to-day people on the ground. I won't tell you my big vision though.
No, don't worry. I think you've given me enough with the mission as well, because I've just got just your mission as well.
The big vision is, and this is, I would love to end poverty in a geographical area like the Midlands. Like imagine our poverty stats are right down to 0.5, where everybody's working, everybody's earning an income, everybody's adding value. That's a bold vision.
That's a big word. People don't understand. Adding value to your community just by anything that you do. How can you add value to your community? I think that's one of the things that you guys are focusing on. It's really good, because I think one of the things that is a very huge focus with the municipality, with anybody, is that Howick is a tourism destination. And if we don't keep the tourism destination clean for people to actually keep coming in, are you going to
attract people?
Attract people from the outside to actually invest in the town.
100%.
So you guys are actually doing us a huge favor, actually, with cleaning up and everything. I've seen the platform at the bridge, the river platform.
Yes.
That was the first time I've ever seen it in my life. I didn't know that was there. I literally didn't know that there was a platform, like a viewing platform of the river, until you guys went in there and cleaned it up. So
it was covered by all sorts of shrubs and trees.
And then the trees. So just seeing that, I mean, that's really just, it's like a little hidden gem that was there.
100%.
No one wasn't paying attention to that. It's a beautiful thing once you actually start cleaning everything up, and then you see the potential that the place has as well.
100%. Yeah. And so that whole area from the bridge all the way down to the lookout point where the falls is, we spent a few months clearing that all up. And the goal actually, and this is kind of the collective vision, is to actually create a botanical gardens there. That people can come and enjoy nature. The river is beautiful. If you actually go down to the bottom part, there's a little island in the middle there. And so we want to put a bridge over to that island and have some benches and spaces for kids to play, people to picnic, all those kind of things. Because those green spaces really are what brings community together. We'd love to be able to create a cohesive environment that people can find each other again, instead of these gated sort of walled communities where no one knows each other.
Because
so
right now,
these public shared spaces are critical for that, especially if they're beautiful, because not only for our local community, they'll attract other people from outside to come in and enjoy them and spend money here and invest in our community.
When looking at that, we're using a natural resource to just enhance the look and the feel of the place, or the atmosphere, or just everything about it. You're using something that was already there. Not like you
just neglected.
You were just neglected. You went in there and you just like chopped up everything, and you're like, this is what you guys have. You didn't know that you had this.
Yeah.
So that's huge. So now, when you say, I always like, I looked at your profile on the internet, or the Love Howick profile. Let's do my research, And one of your quotes is, "We are better together." Right. So could you provide me with some examples of like collaborations that you've had that have given you this image that we work better together?
Yeah, I think our core focus as an organization is sustainability, and that only is possible when we bring different sectors of society together. So I remember when we actually first launched the first project for Love Howick, was to clean up our streets. And so from that moment, we sent out an invite to everybody, and we were amazed, and I don't know the exact number, but it was around 50 people rocked up. And so you could already see the appetite for people to come together and do something positive. And so from then on, it's just ramped up. And so we've obviously seen the business community really are a very generous community in this Midlands region, and they want to see positive change.
Yeah.
And so we partner with some businesses on certain projects. The big one being obviously the COVID-19 big lockdown. We saw the Guinea Relief Network formed, and to me it was a beautiful moments. Out of tragedy came this great example of what happens when a community comes together.
Give us the story.
So the business, what happened is I was enjoying the lockdown 3 days in, and thinking, I've got 6 weeks of holiday. Everything was set up, but in the back of my mind, I was aware that some people, they work for the day and they need that daily wage to feed their family that night.
Yeah.
And so for those households in lockdown, it was a death sentence because they weren't able to work, which means they weren't able to get income to feed their families. And imagine 6 weeks of not being able to do that. And so that's happening. But I'm kind of like 3 days in going, I just need a breather. Life up until that point was busy as normal. Then I got a phone call from the business community that said they wanted to invest 1 million rand into feeding those who had absolutely nothing during the lockdown period. And apparently I was the person to speak to. And so they said, would you please organize something? So I said I'd get back to you. So, again, it's people looking like, why don't you just say yes? I really need to think about, can we actually do this? And that's where the whole we better together, because really I can't do it. Love Howick can't do it. But actually, when everybody does their bit, we can. And so within 6 days, we had all the planning permissions to be out and about. We had a central warehouse. Someone donated on a Carcliff a warehouse that we could get all the supplies into, and we could have volunteers. We had about 50 volunteers every day packing food parcels. We had non-profits set up all over Mgeni, the whole region, as a distribution channel. Some companies offered their trucks to us. Others offered fresh fruit and veg from their farms. And again, we just saw this collaborative effort to feed our communities. And within that first month, we fed 40,000 people. And that's the power of partnership. Our organization wouldn't be able to do that, but coming under the neutral banner of Love Howick, we're here to love our community back to life. The business guys came together, the NGOs, the churches, the government came together. I mean, the ward councillors were involved in that process, and it was all done professionally. It was all done, everything was accountable. And at the end of that, we wrote a report on the impact of that, and you could see that there was such a multiplied impact because of the power of being together. And so that's just one example. I mean, we're busy building an elderly centre in Lidgerton, and we've seen business donate tunnels and building supplies and fences, and someone's donated cash towards our building materials. So we want to see an elderly centre in that community that honours the old people, that gives them space to feel safe and to run their programs and activities and businesses and stuff like that.
I know these guys, they're really into farming as well. They want to go back to farming because things are expensive in the shops.
Exactly, and food insecurity is a reality. And so we had a company come on board that are sponsoring tunnels so that they can grow in the centre, they can grow their own vegetables. We're busy about to launch the Santa School Box project, and that project is aimed at collecting stationery from this Christmas period. So on the first day of school, we can give those who have absolutely nothing a box of stationery for their school year, just to make sure that they have what they need for education. Those are collaborative partnerships. That's business coming on board with other NGOs, collecting, churches, different people, just coming and saying, actually, let's do this together so that we can see the multiplied effect.
And have more of an impact.
100%. And again, it's not about one particular organization. It's allowing everybody space to kind of be part of the process and be part of the vision.
Okay, no, I get it.
And I could go on forever.
Okay.
Cleanups.
I can hear.
There's all sorts of things happening.
Yeah, this is why Bas thinks you're the scariest man in Howick, because then you can get things done, and then everyone comes together. Everyone just comes together and just helps you. I was like, they're scared of you. But let's be honest. I mean, what you just mentioned now, most of the things you've mentioned now have been geared at helping out the community. Why do you have this this drive to actually, see the community come out of poverty? Like, where did it come from? What inspired you to actually get this thing done?
I think just an earlier story. When I was in school in Cape Town, we were in boarding school, and so we had to walk from our boarding school to the mall to obviously get any shopping or supplies and stuff. And we'd always have to pass a whole lot of street kids. I remember interacting with those street kids back then when I was in grade 11, and just hearing their stories. And it was actually tragic. As a young person, you kind of, you look at your life and go, well, like, what if I was in that place? What if I was born into that situation or had that amount of abuse? How would I react? So actually back then in school, I mobilized our school to come together, and that's why, again, it's always to come together and actually come up with a solution to the street kids of our area, which was Wynberg, Claremont area in Cape Town. And so another organization picked up on it, and we ran this whole campaign to actually set up a street kids home, which got off the ground within the first year of our involvement, and we got our whole school community. People donated beds and kitchen supplies and equipment, and someone donated the top level of their warehouse to house the street kids home. And so there was education campaigns that came in, health, all sorts of things. That was at school level. I was moved by, I think, the plight of people, and I still am. If I walk past situations or hear about things that, I often trying to put myself in that situation, and go like, compassion is a direct result of empathy, and so if we can be more empathetic and kind of walk a mile in someone else's shoes, I think we'll see far more happen in terms of kindness, compassion, reaching out, generous. But I think, and I'm also guilty of it, sometimes I turn a blind eye to those things just because my life's got enough happening of its own.
Everybody has
and so we kind of like just focus on ourselves. But if we can spend a little moment each day thinking of somebody else, that will start a movement. And I think that's really what we're trying to do, is mobilize the community to start acting out of empathy and compassion. And from that comes a whole lot of opportunities, because we get to be brothers and sisters together, helping each other out rather than enemies, rather than, like me versus you. This is us. And I suppose that's the essence of Ubuntu.
The essence of you guys actually doing something as Love Howick. I feel like that's what you guys are trying to promote. Like, people doing stuff together.
Yeah, and using their talents, using their skills, using what they have. I mean, everybody has something to give. And our focus on how we develop communities is based on the ABCD model, the asset-based community development model, which looks at every person and every community identifying their assets, what they do have instead of what they don't have. Because most of us know what we don't have. Or what we can't do, or what resources we lack. But actually, if you look around, there are resources we are not seeing, and there are things that we're not identifying. And I think it's largely mindsets. We're so conditioned to look at the negative and what we don't have and our lack, instead of, as humans, looking at what we do have and kind of what we share as resources together.
Contribute to the world.
And what we can, So, I mean, you're using your talent and your skill to give a voice to people. Right now, the cameraman sitting behind there, he's got his talent that he's starting to showcase and give visuals to the world. We've got Sarah over here, who's got a great gift in communication, and it's being used in a positive way to build a positive narrative. So, I mean, everyone's using something. And so if we can try and bring that together behind sort of shared visions, we can see that multiply effect.
Definitely, man. I'm blown away. I have to say, I wasn't expecting you to have so much to say. let me be honest, like, most of my questions you've answered, and I'm looking at like, why do I ask now? But I don't want to get to the politics yet. I want to get to the politics.
Leave politics out. Leave that for the politicians.
Well, yeah, but about that then, you know, we say that politics has been a challenge for us, right? But then we also see that it's because of these politicians that our country sometimes has a bit of a setback. And if we say that some people, like let's say me personally, I get a bit confused, right? Because I'm more of a business person and I trust the private sector. Whatever I do, I will go to the private sector for help, for like to do anything. They've always been people that have been willing to help me out rather than public sector, which is government or your departments. I've always had to go through door to door to get my books published. So when I hear people say, okay, let's leave politics out of the equation and focus on business, I get happy. But then when I also look at politics, like they're ruining the country, and how am I going to stop these people? So we stuck between these two things of how do we move forward, progress? Because I also believe that progressing means that, you know, I also, you know, get to do my thing, approach businesses and they love my thing and I just share my ideas with them. But then you try to move forward and you see how the politics affects everything. So I'm just a bit confused on that. What do you think, man? Do you think we should try focusing a bit more on business and the private sector, or have a balance? I'm not really sure.
I think this is my opinion. I think we don't understand the role that each sector plays. So governance in itself, and if you look at any governance structures, the role of governance is to create the environment in which all the other sectors can thrive. And so that's policies. It's protecting the rights of people. It's making sure that there's fairness. It's making sure that there's justice. And so really the government's role is not to do everything or to be involved in everything or to have a finger in every pie. And that's, I think, often what the narrative is in South Africa, is they like their fingers everywhere. But the goal is to create the environments that the private sector and individuals can do what they do and they can do it well. And so I think the government do play a role, but I think what we've done is that we've kind of seen them as the savior, and we've seen them as the ones that yield all the power. And really, in South Africa, I believe the political system is a broken system because of that. Is that we don't understand that we as citizens actually carry the power. We have elected officials to represent us to create an environment in which we can all operate with safety, knowing that our human rights are protected, knowing that actually we can thrive, we have opportunities, we have access to the basic needs that we have as humans. But their role is only one role. The power rests in people saying, actually, I'm going to buy into a collective vision for our nation, for our community. I'm going to add my strength to that. I'm going to add value where I need to. And so we actually, as you know, that power of citizenship is so powerful that we need to regain. And we need to understand we have a voice in that too. I think so many people have been intimidated to the extent that their voice is silent now. But I'm really trusting and encouraging people I interact with to say, come out of hiding. Let your voice be heard. Let your actions also speak louder than your voice, and let's do positive things together. Let's create together. Let's collaborate together. Let's build businesses together. Let's build a community. That's spaces where people can sort out some of the problems. If food insecurity is a problem in our community, how can we develop young farmers that can actually do those type of things? So government provide the framework, but the citizens are the ones that carry the power to execute that vision and to make it happen and to make it real. And so I think we mustn't let the idea of politics scare us. We mustn't let it, the idea of politics, it's intimidating, but it also is designed to divide. Because again, the whole, you rule because of, you've obviously gained support from a certain group of people, which means that has caused other people to be divided. And so if we can somehow work out how in this country to give the governance, the space it needs to do things honorably, with accountability, transparency, and with good leadership. It then sets the platform of which the private sector and us as citizens can start to do what we need to do, which is to rebuild our country. And that's why we have launched things like Love Cities, which is a network of these Love Howick projects outworking itself in other places, saying to the communities, we're powerful together. Get the businesses on board, get NGOs on board, get people volunteering again, get people using their skills for positive things, and take back that power that we've just said to the government, you make our community work. We'll sit back and complain and moan, and while our communities are dying and there's just, failures everywhere, or we'll take back that power and we'll actually start doing it ourselves within the framework that governments supply that protects each other. It protects the relationships, protects human rights, protects our engagements as business, as the private sector, and so we don't exploit, we don't. It's a conducive, positive environment for growth and development, and that's what we want to see in our country. And so we are really championing the cause of active citizenship and active participation within communities. And people are getting it. I've been traveling the last while across our country, launching these Love Cities projects. And I can't tell you how many communities are coming out to these public meetings going, we'll start with cleaning up. We'll start doing skills development with our communities. We'll start sorting out the problems. We'll kind of push politics aside and unite behind positive change.
As a community.
Together, as a community.
I actually wish, if many people are watching this, which they rarely do, I always find people from outside watches, but if they are, I really wish we could put the politics aside in Popomeni and find ways to work together as a community.
100%.
Because that is what divides us the most. And I feel like, let me just say, I'll make an example. There's a girl, I forgot her name, but she's Dexter's cousin. Dexter the champion, obviously.
The champion.
The champion, Dexter the champion. So his cousin started volunteering for you guys I think it was last year. And then a few months later, she got a job. So she went from, this is what he told me, she went from 0 to 14,000 a month. And that's huge. That's a huge change.
That's amazing.
She might not be doing the best job in the world, but she's able to do what she couldn't do last year.
100%. And I think that's what even this whole sort of Bas Kruger story, we didn't respond to anything because our kind of take on this whole thing is that our work must speak for itself. The people that we are impacting, those that we're trying to empower, those that we are trying to build sort of a growth mindset and help them be empowered to make changes in their lives. We want them to speak, and again, it's not, nothing's perfect. I think we're on a journey of developments, and we really are trying to empower people, and that's not always easy because you're coming up against a mindset of disempowerment the whole time. It's like almost what they call in psychology learned helplessness, where we learn how to be helpless so that government can just give us handouts. My grandmother has that, I think. Sorry, Gran. But my grandmother had that problem. Every time she does something, she's always feeling sorry for herself. And I'm always like Gran, even though it is bad, but if you have a better outlook, and she's a devoted Christian, and I'm like, this is confusing for me because you're supposed to be the one with good outlook, telling me how to have a better outlook in life. But I feel like I'm the one going out, finding God and doing him back here in the house, like, go, you're gonna be fine. But you'll make it. There is hope. There is hope. I'm like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm your grandson. I'm your hope. I mean, but that's the thing. I feel like we need to restore that kind of patriotism within yourself before you even get into the community, the country, but yourself. Have pride within yourself. And once you have pride in yourself and make up your bed, you'll make up the community and clean it up. And it'll just go from you. It's not around your house. It'll start from your space to the spaces outside. 100%. And I think, we can't deny that right now it's difficult. South Africa, our economy, our political landscape, our fuel prices that keep going up, our load shedding situations, like all of those things, the environment's not easy, which means more than ever we need each other. And my bad day when I'm having one of those, I'm hopeless about this, I come into contact with somebody else who is not in that space. They can help me to see something different. And so we start doing that for each other instead of just joining the pity party or joining the negativity or joining the marches, all those kind of things. Rather, why don't we inspire each other? Why don't we look and say, well, let's look at what we do have. Let's come together and make little business opportunities. Let's come together and create an environment in our communities where tourists are wanting to come, so that actually we can start to see growth.
I was looking at the Midlands market videos that I did for the last, not this one, the previous market, where people from PMB were interacting, and I was like, you know what, this is actually it. Bringing people from outside and they can have it like have a good vibe and feel like they're having fun in a safe and family-friendly environment.
Yeah, we'd love to host the Midlands market in Mpopomeni, for example, so that actually people can come into that type of community and go, wow, there's such life here. There's such a vibe here.
Very reasonable. $20 interest, dude.
And there's lots of great facilities there. It just needs buy-in from the community, and I think that's what we are really pushing in all our Love Cities projects. Is guys buy into a collective vision that's bigger than yourself, that's bigger than us. And let's do something together that's positive. And so our approach is always to change the narrative first. And I think that's what you keep mentioning, is that whole victim mentality has to break in us first. And we take personal responsibility for that. As I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I'm not a victim of my past. I'm not a victim of my race or my gender or my social standing. I'm a powerful person, and I get to make powerful decisions every day.
It doesn't matter who people think I am or what, but if I can actually get up in the morning, make a decision and start working.
Exactly. And then start to speak the narrative that brings hope to others. And so let our lives actually shine. And from that point of view, we can start addressing, you can't address problems with a problem mindset.
Exactly.
Because all you do is...
How are we going to solve it? You're the one asking.
Exactly.
Okay. Even if it's a wrong suggestion, just make a suggestion.
Make a solution. Give something. Bring something to the table.
That's why the teachers say, even if it's a wrong answer, just pick up your hand and give me an answer.
100%.
It's very important, because even in that wrong answer, there might be a little smidgen of a suggestion that might help.
Exactly. Or that could spark someone else's idea, and someone else. Eventually, you got this whole.
It's just confidence. It sparks like a confidence. If I'm confident enough to say, let's say we're at a club right now, and I'm confident enough to stand up and dance, and I can't dance, everybody's gonna dance. Because they're like, even you can't dance, they can get up and dance. So that's basically it. If we can make everybody in the Midlands dance and be happy.
So what you've just touched on is actually leadership. Is that actually we need leaders. And that's not, and I'm not talking about elected leaders, politicians. Yes. We do need good, honorable, accountable politicians, but we need leaders in every part of society. We need those that are going to take their friends and go and clean up an area. We need those who are going to start businesses. We need those who are going to say, hey, stop being negative. Let's look at the positive, what's going on in our country right now. Let's come up with a solution to load shedding. Instead of actually moaning about it, let's look at ways that we can actually overcome those things. So leadership is what sparks others to think differently. That's my definition. And so we need some sparks all over our community to get people to think differently and to start to be empowered. And unfortunately, those steps are risky. They take courage. You are going to get flack for being, swimming upstream. But actually what you end up doing is creating an environment where people can once again start to have hope. And I think, we're so tired of false expectations, of having our hopes stirred by some great speech or some great promise, only to find, a year, 2, 3 later that nothing's happened. And so instead of that cycle, it's election time right now, so let's get on the hope cycle again and empty promises. Actually, let's leave that stuff aside going, what can I contribute? What assets do I have? What talents can I use? Where can I inspire others? How can I come together and see positive change? And I can tell you, if everybody does just one thing per week to inspire positive change in this area, give us a year as a community, and we will be the example to South Africa of what's possible when every person does something.
You can see Matt's a pastor, eh?
He's absolutely right, and I just thought of something that really ties into this. Yesterday, 2 of our people were mugged outside on the road, outside our property at knife point.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
Right here.
About
not 10 the first time.
12 and they were quite badly traumatized because there was a massive knife involved, and it was 3 guys who mugged them. Or let's call it what it was, armed robbery. about 10 or 12 of our guys from our outdoor team that does landscaping and stuff saw this and gave chase. Now, this team is still a relatively new team. They still don't quite know each other. They're still working on the bonds of leadership and team development and all that sort of thing. But that group of guys operated as a unit. I saw them fly by. I was like, no, hang on. A group of guys chasing a small little group of guys could end in trouble for the good guys. So I followed them. And we went down the bank, and the main body of guys ran straight down to the river, 4 peeled off, grabbed some old branches that had been chopped and left there, and went back to join the guys, because already they're thinking as a unit, as a team. And those 4 guys were like, no, we need to be prepared, worst case scenario, we've got to look after our teammates. They end up chasing them all the way down into town by Kwamavana. They come up the bank there, and now everyone's looking, hoping to find these guys because they missed them. And we're all hanging around there waiting, checking out people walking past, walking up the banks. And eventually they go down to go and look maybe through the phone. So they go and look, and then they come back up, and then this guy comes out of the bush. A homeless guy, a guy who's quite possibly a Wonga addict, who everyone would probably ignore or treat as, let's not get near him. And he came out and he started talking. And he's, well, what happened? So they told him, and he's like, well, what did they look like? And automatically got involved. And he suddenly became part of the solution. And he's like, you know what? I recognize that description. I know that guy's name. I know where he is now, and I know where he lives normally.
Ooh.
And this information all came out.
This is the police at work.
Yeah, this
undercover.
This is our team, and I'm operating as a unit and just having conversations and just embracing the possibility that it's not hopeless, that they might get the phone back. They haven't given up and said, oh, the phone's gone, my life's over, whatever else. They're like, we're going to find that phone. We can still find that phone, and it's contagious. A guy came out of a bush and gave them information that will hopefully lead to finding the phone.
It's basically what I always call, everybody calls it the law of attraction. If you attract that mentality that I want to find this, it's going to come to you at every angle.
And it's contagious. People need hope.
Yeah.
We feel at a loss at the moment. South Africans feel lost and depressed. And you can see it when the load shedding ratchets up a few levels. The moods in supermarkets,
we go crazy.
Public spaces, people are miserable.
I work from home. Wi-Fi becomes a problem. I feel like smacking my laptop, and I don't have another 10,000 to buy this, so let's put it down. But I feel like smacking it every time the Wi-Fi just gives me a problem. That's just a small issue for me. Imagine the people that can't cook. Imagine the people that can't get food.
Can't run their businesses.
Exactly.
They're running hospitality, which means they need fridges and freezers, and all their food goes off.
Hospitals having problems.
Hospitals, schools not being able to run.
And how do you now inspire that kind of situation? That's what I'm saying. So you guys are working through that's in Southern River.
Yeah.
There's basically a tsunami coming for you guys, and you guys are going straight for it. It's like, okay, we can't really go Atlantic because it's coming anyway. So you have to go through that and get done with it. And that's basically what I would all need as the country, actually. The country, the continent, the world, actually. That right now there's a storm coming.
Yeah.
And if we turn away and run from it, it's still going to come.
Yeah.
But if we go through it, I feel like at the end of the day, it will rain, we'll get wet. I've been wet so many times from coming from school and getting rained on. But if we can persevere past that, there's going to be a lot of sunshine and a rainbow at the end of the day, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality I have.
No, that's brilliant. And I think, if I could speak to the youth culture right now, because I think there's such potential in our young people. And again, the definition of youth is under the age of 35. So I'm including everyone up to that age.
Yeah.
Is that if together, that the youth culture, us, if we can make sure that we're starting to actually inspire people to think differently. And I think that's it, that about their lives, about their futures, about their, what they can contribute to life. Instead of this disempowered thinking, we could have a far greater next decade. So if you think about it, 2024 is upon us. What does 2034 look like? Actually, our youth need to start making decisions now as to what they want
preparing them for
the future to look like. They are moving into roles of leadership. They are moving into roles of fathering and mothering and raising kids. What are the type of environments you want your kids to be raised in?
Definitely.
What are the spaces? What do you want your schools to be like? I look at the schools, and I'm a passionate educator. I'm like, where are all the parents in our schools? Because everyone's complaining about our schools, but at the end of the day, our schools belong to our parents, because they are the custodians over their kids who are using that facility. And if it looks terrible, parents get together and put some paint on the walls, get together and fix the glass panes, get together and work with the teachers to get the resources that are needed from the community, by the community, in the community. But everyone just backs off and goes, well, someone else must sort out the problem.
Even with the education, I mean, it's not even just the education stuff. Like, we were supposed to be, as parents, as teachers, working together to make sure the kids come out of the school with.
Exactly. Do read with your kids in the afternoon, in the evening. Make sure they do homework. Yeah. Make sure that they, are not behind devices the whole time. They're actually playing outside, or they make sure that they're safe.
Simple spelling tests at home.
Exactly.
Was just the thing for me. My grandma used to come home and be like, okay, spelling test today. Spell that word. 4 words a day. Learn to spell those words. I didn't know how much that would help me. I'm a writer now.
Exactly. You see, inspired by parents and grandparents.
Yeah, my dad used to buy me books like those Disney books, Tarzan, those Snow White, and all those Disney books, and just left them there. He knew at some point just pick up and get curious. So he made sure that there was something in the house for us to actually do something with. So parents, guys, we need to be active. We're raising our kids and not just leaving it to teachers. I pay the teachers. No.
Exactly. I remember my first employee at my business came through the Love Howick programs, came through the skills development program, so kind of had that grounding, but really was different to a lot of the other people I encountered. And I sat down with them one day and I said, listen, you are very different. The way you think, your manners, the way you approach your work ethic, your professionalism, all that kind of stuff. And so he laughed, he said, I can tell you, if my granddad was in this conversation, he'd be speaking right now, because it was my granddad who used to tell us, you're never rude to those who are older than you. Number 2, you're grateful for everything. So just basic values.
Small little things.
To always look after your space. So he said, my room is clean all the time. My granddad said, you are not leaving this house until that's sorted out. He taught me the value of money and managing my own money well. He taught me how to work hard. And so he wouldn't let me off the hook when we had things to do at home. He said, I painted, I fixed roofs, I fixed, and so he said, I owe it to my granddad, who gave me those values at home. And honestly, like, if we could have granddads like that for every person in our communities, like people that can just invest, can do the necessary discipline, can bring the structures that are needed to help young people thrive. Because let's be honest, everyone's all over the place. But if we can have the older generation invest in the younger generation, exactly, because we're going to inherit the future we sow into now. And so if you think 10, 20 years time, what are we sowing now for that future? And really, it comes down to us as parents and grandparents saying, okay, let's invest in the next generation, and not just hide away. We can come out of hiding and actually let's contribute.
Yeah, man. So, last question before I just let you go. How do you feel about being called the most feared Mlungu in Howick?
I knew you were going to come there.
And is this title going to be added to your LinkedIn profile anytime soon?
Well, I haven't yet got a proper LinkedIn profile, so it still needs to be worked on. But I looked at that and I tried in my own mind to quantify what most feared would actually mean. Maybe most, I would hope, like most revered, and purely for the sake of maybe that, I'd love to be known for giving opportunities to people. And so I would prefer that to be on my LinkedIn profile. Through all our internship, and we've got 60 interns. We've got another 100, workers joining us through the IDC project. We're running, obviously, volunteer work placements, and all our programs, our students have to go out and we try and find them places to volunteer work, to give back and to learn those skills, because you actually can only learn skills when you're doing it. And so all of those opportunities are being created and they're being increased all the time. And so I hope that we would be known for giving opportunities that maybe would make people scared, because they've promised opportunities for decades and now they're not delivering, and we are delivering on those opportunities. And so maybe that has been turned around against us. So in that case, I'm turning it to a positive. Maybe hopefully we'll be feared for the right things.
Yes.
And so not
by the wrongdoers.
Exactly. and again, for doing things the right way. And again, we don't get it right all the time, and we're trying our best, but actually there's progress. And that is what we're about here. We want to see progress.
They always go to this thing that you guys are being accredited. That's like, yeah, they don't know that they're just wasting people's time. They're not even accredited. What do you have to say about that? That's what I would think.
Well, number one, we've never ever said on any platform that we are offering accredited training programs. All we do is offer skills-based programs that are based on what the professional environment, what industry has told us is important for any job.
And the environment in Howick.
In Howick. So the employers are giving us feedback all the time. We need this, we need this, we need this. So we bring it into our programs. And so our accreditation for me is actually not an issue, because we are allowed to run skills-based programs. The goal for me is to make sure they run in a quality way, which we have a lot of quality controls in place to do that. But more than that, they translate into practical skills in the workplace, which is why in our first month Work Ready program, 1 day per week, we place all of our students in the workplace, and they've got to give volunteer hours to that employer to actually bring those skills to the fore. So be on time, dress appropriately, have a good attitude, serve your employment environments.
I've seen some of the
do things. Yeah, they're all over. I mean, spas, Pick and Pays, businesses, libraries, and that gives them confidence. Because imagine being unemployed for 10 years.
And
you've never worked, you've never been there, you've never seen a boss, you've never worked with a team, you've never had to have deadlines or to reach targets. And so that is a sheltered almost environment to get the confidence they need to go and find a job and to keep a job. And so after that's the Work Ready course, which is our entry-level program that deals a lot with mindset, that growth mindset we're talking about, being empowered, life skills, financial literacy, relationship management. Relationships cost the employer lots, because they bring all the home stuff into that environment. We've got to help untangle all of that, deal with trauma, deal with past hurts, past pains. So we have an environment at the Dream Center that is really focused on, I think, holistic development. It's not just the skills, it's the mindset. It's not just the mindset, it's the emotions. It's not just emotions, it's the social aspect of our lives. So all of that is brought together in one program that deals with a lot with professionalism, work ethic, communication skills, the basic condition of employment, empowering people to have good interview skills, CV skills, and all those kind of things that they just need guidance in. And the result of that is that there's a great volunteer program attached to it. And then they can progress into some of our level 2 programs: baking, catering, baristas, hospitality, agriculture, I mean, there's a myriad: IT, office admin, nails. I mean, our nail students today are doing an outreach at an old age home. They've just done the program. Now we are getting them practice hours so they can go and launch mobile businesses, beauty studios.
That's exactly what
we're doing entrepreneurship training the whole time. We have micro business training, home-based care. You name it, we are training skills-based programs that will translate into jobs or starting businesses. And the track record is not in our accreditation, it's in the amount of really success stories we have. And there's a huge percentage of those people through our programs and through our job center that actually employers say, I want you to come and work for me. In fact, some employers say, unless you go and do this Work Ready program with Love Howick, I actually won't even look at your CV.
That's what people are saying. That,
so there's a great mutual partnership with industry and us to make sure we've got professionalism in the workplace.
I was actually discussing that with a few of my friends, and they were like, it's kind of unfair now that people are taking people from Love Howick. And then I was looking at the history of us as employees as well, because we can't just looking at the employers. Well, just don't look at the employer as the one who's the wrong one all the time. Let's also look at how we as employees behave. If every Monday there will be a doctor's note saying you can't come to work, there's going to be a problem. If you rock up to work drunk, there's going to be a problem. If you cannot be punctual, if you cannot be
add value to your workplace.
If you cannot add value to your workplace, then most likely your employer will not keep you around. So if you are being prepared, and then these guys trust that the organization actually preparing you for that readiness, then why not use that kind of model for us in the township? Also teaching people that respect the job.
100%.
How do you, because it might not be the job that you want to have forever, but what are you going to learn from this job that actually takes to the next job?
Yeah.
Because you might just be now, getting drunk in this job, next job, get drunk, and then you keep getting fired and you're like, bad luck. No, look at yourself first. Look at how you, how much you put into the job.
Yeah.
And then you can say, my boss doesn't like me. But then you've got to also look at yourself first. Introspection is very important. That's always tell people in such as well. So as much as we're going to complain that there's no work, if you do come to do, let's say, a course and do a barista course, there is no coffee shop in the township, none whatsoever.
Exactly. Who's going to start one?
Who's going to start one? If you're going to do a nail course, there are a lot of people starting salons. Can you go to one of them and be like, do you have a nail professional at your salon? Because you already have a customer base of people doing their hair.
Exactly.
So why not come together and do some nails? So the collaboration comes in. So I want that for my community.
Yes. And that's what we want for every community.
I really wish that we could actually come together in a way that if I have something, even if, let's say me, I'm graphic designer, podcasts, the editing and everything, video editing, and Pa is, my friend's Pa is a farmer. Those are two different industries.
Yeah.
But I always make sure that Pa has a good logo. If he needs a poster, I'll do a good poster for him. If he needs anything that is to do with his profile or just if we're doing anything together, I will make sure that he has something good. And I always go there to get my food. I'll get my spinach from Pa, I'll get my lemons if I'm sick. So there's that.
That's supporting local.
Exactly.
Supporting each other.
And then he's always in the newspapers. I'll make sure he's in the newspapers from my writing. He's on my podcast. And that's where it comes from. My grandmother gets her spinach from Pa. Yeah. And it's that synergy that we have. We might not have money, but we have the skills.
Those are all your assets coming together.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what develops communities, is identifying those assets and actually bringing them together in a way that can be multiplied.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
Thank you very much. Will follow that.
Yeah.
So you sound like the transformation agent there. Keep going, keep stirring up people to think differently. Yeah, and that's the key.
But just give me, for the last thing, just give me any message that you'd like to give the population of the country right now during these hard times. Any message of inspiration or anything that you want to just, tell them to keep their day going.
I think, one of our slogans in Love Cities, which is all these projects going across our country, is everyone, everywhere, empowered. And I want to encourage everybody. And I say everyone, no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter where you come from, no matter what's going on in your life right now, everybody can add value somewhere. If we just put a note in our daily calendar or diary that today, what can I do to add value? Everyone, everywhere. So let's not leave it to the more affluent suburbs or the more built up urban area, not the rural areas. Everywhere. We all carry, there's assets, there's opportunities, there's things that are happening, but it comes down to that last one, empowered. We've got to think differently. And so I want to encourage you to start thinking about what you do have, what you can contribute, where you can contribute, and actually go out and do something. As I said, I'm an action person, so as we leave this podcast, what are you going to do with what you've heard today? Take one step, make one decision, change one mindset, and see what happens as a result of that.
See what I said? Bas! You hear that? I hope Bas heard that last part.
Please. Let's organize us a meeting. We'd love to meet.
We'd love to meet him. Let's
invite. Yeah, I want to say to him, maybe to her. We don't actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Let's invite them.
Yeah, them.
To the table.
Yeah, them.
To the table.
Yeah, to the table to have a nice conversation with us, Bas. If you'd like to have a conversation with us, we are more than happy
100%.
to have you.
We love it. We love engaging with people.
Their energy is just amazing. It's always so come through, man. We'll be an entertaining podcast. Definitely. Thank you very much, man. This is amazing. And shout out to your wife. Shout out to your wife because she's gonna kill us because you really told us.
Shout out to the woman behind all of this.
Yeah.
And the children that are part of this team and the team at large, the Love Howick teams and the Love Cities teams and the community that's been supporting us for 7 years this month.
7 years.
So this Saturday we've got our 7-year birthday celebration at the Howick Falls. We're gonna cut some cake. We're gonna sing happy birthday.
I'm rocking up.
You're on the guest list.
I'm coming.
We're gonna share our dreams from Guinea. So we thought 7. As we go into 8, which is actually the number of new beginnings.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at at broadcasting some of the dreams for Mgeni at that event. And so it's going to be quite special. So
I'm definitely going to be
this
there.
Saturday, Howick Falls, 10 o'clock.
Okay, guys, so you heard it right here on the podcast. This Saturday, what time?
Howick Falls, 10 o'clock, 10
10
a.m.
o'clock at Howick Falls.
At the lookout point.
Yeah, at the lookout point, there's going to be a nice little birthday party for Love Howick.
Yes.
7-year celebration. 7. But yeah, man, thank you very much, man. You're an
Pleasure.
inspiration, bro. Like, can't really find the scariest man party.
Well, we redefined it already, so it's fine.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
You're a champ, man. You're a champ.
Thanks for having me.
Sarah, thank you for being there as well.
It's a pleasure.
You've always had a nice way to get us together. Thank you
Shout
very
out.
much.
It's a pleasure.
And our cameraman right there, bro. Sharp, man. Thank you very much. Ooh, good. Just
There we go.
you had so much to say.
He always does.
You know what?
But thank you very much, man.
You can edit as much as you want.
No, wait.
I would like to introduce